Hi guys, this is Vineet, and in this video we will discuss about implicit transactions. So if we are in this particular mode, the implicit transactions mode, and under this mode if we execute a statement or a transactional statement, and if a transaction is not open at that point, the system is supposed to open a implicit transaction for you. However, unlike the default auto commit mode in SQL Server, under this mode, the implicit transaction mode, you are responsible for explicitly closing the transactions by either committing them or rolling them back. So this mode can be turned on by using the statement set implicit transactions on. This is the exact statement which we can use to turn the implicit transactions mode to on. And let me copy this code to the SQL Server. Give me a moment. I've copied this code, and let's open a new query tab and paste this code. Now let's discuss about this code. Let me go ahead and discuss this code. So we are using the Northwind database, and we have turned this mode on, implicit transaction mode on, and we have also set the option exact about and no count to on. And here we are declaring the variable, and this is the same code I've used in one of my previous videos regarding SQL transactions. And here we are declaring a no order ID variable, and we are inserting into order table under the following columns, and these are the columns we are inserting some values in. And we are using ALFKI as the customer ID, but I don't want to use that customer ID in this transaction. So let me see what other customer ID I can use. So we can use AROUT. So I'm copying this customer ID and putting it here. Alright, and we are putting following set of values to this table under following columns in the same order, and we are assigning the no order ID variable a value using the scope identity function, which puts the latest generated primary key, in this case the order ID, to the no order ID variable, and after that we are printing the value for the latest order ID that is generated, and also the transaction count at this point in time using the global variable at tran count. And in the second insert statement we are putting order details using that newly generated order ID. We are using 3 products under this particular order ID. We are putting that order details in the order details table, and then we are printing transaction count once again, and we are committing the transaction. We are running in implicit transaction mode. We don't need to specify explicitly the begin transaction statement, but yeah, we need to explicitly or must explicitly specify the commit transaction statement. So let me go ahead and execute this code quickly. So we can see we have printed the newly order ID that is generated is 11088, and during the whole point there was a single transaction that was open, and after the commit transaction, that transaction got closed. So the whole of the code is got executed under a single transaction. Alright, so yeah, the last order ID generated is 11088. Now let me take you back to the notes, and in the above code there is no explicit begin transaction statement as we just saw, because we are relying on implicit transaction mode. But there is an explicit commit transaction statement, because the implicit transaction mode requires that we should write commit transaction statement in the end, and it requires the explicit declaration of commit transaction statement. The above code generated the following output. In our case 11088 was the order ID, last order ID that got generated, And in the above code, both the addition of orders and order details ran in a single implicit transaction. If there is a failure in any of the statements, the entire transaction will get rolled back. So as I was saying, the entire code was executed in a single transaction, and if any of the maybe insert statement failed, then entire transaction will get rolled back. Any of the changes made to orders and order ID table will get rolled back. Now let me go back to notes, and we can query the order and order details table for the following order ID 11083, but in our case it's 11088. So let's do that. I don't have to delete it, so let's change it to select star from order and order details. The last order ID generated was 11088. So let me execute both of these statements quickly. So yeah, we got rows in both the tables for order ID 11088. Let's go back to the notes. You get the following output. We have received a similar output over here. So in our case, the order ID is 11088, and we can run the following code to set implicit transactions to off. So let me do that. So let's do it under this session. So write set implicit transactions to off, and select this statement and execute this code. So now implicit transactions are now off for this particular session. And let's go back to notes, and let's discuss about a limitation of using the implicit transaction mode. It increases the chances that transaction remain open for long periods. So there may be chances where we do not specify the commit transaction or rollback transaction statements while using the implicit transactions mode. There can be a chances, and if someone forgets to explicitly close them manually by using the commit statement or rollback statement, then there are chances that transaction will remain open in the system, and these open transactions can cause performance issues in the system, which includes blocking other transactions as well. Other transaction may need access to certain data. This particular open transaction is blocking them to access that particular data. So yeah, it increases chances of this. And under implicit transaction mode, we need to explicitly close the transactions by using commit transaction or rollback transaction statement. Let's move on to next slide, which discusses about the save points in transactions. So basically a save point is a location in our transactions which you can later roll back to. So it is basically a marked section within our transaction to which we can later roll back to, undoing only the changes that took place since the save point, and not the rest of the changes that took place in a transaction. So basically the idea is that we can roll back to a certain point which is marked with particular keyword. When we roll back to a save point, a transaction remains open and the code continues its execution. So if we roll back to a certain point, the transaction remains open, but the transaction gets rolled back to a certain point in the code section. So save points in our transaction can be marked with the blur statement. So within the begin transaction or commit transaction block, we can mark various save points in the code within the section begin transaction and commit transaction. We can use this statement save transaction with the name of a save point to mark the save point. And how can we roll back to that particular save point? We can use the rollback transaction statement and specify the name of the save point up to which we want to roll back. And we can mark multiple save points in the same transaction, and we have to keep in mind that we can only gradually roll back to save points, otherwise we will get an error. For example, if we have marked 3 save points in our transaction, say tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. These are our three save points in this order. First we have marked tier 1, second we have marked tier 2, third we have marked tier 3. You can roll back to tier 3 and then to tier 2 and then to tier 1, but not the other way around. Alright, so we can roll back only gradually, but the last save point we can roll back to first. And below is the code that implements the save point. So let me copy this code and discuss about it. So we'll check its output as well. Here we have given the output in the screenshot. We got the values 1 and 4. And let's go back to SQL Server, open a new query window, copy this code. So we are setting exact abort and no code options to on. We are dropping a table if it already exists. The table name is A1, and again we are creating this table DBO A1 with column 1 as integer type, and we are beginning our transaction. Here is the code between begin transaction and transaction markers, and at this point just immediately after start of transaction we are saving the save point by using the statement save transaction tier 1. This is the save point 1, and after the save point 1 is saved, we are inserting into this table under column which can hold integer values. We are inserting values 1. Immediately after that we are saving the save point 2, and after that we are inserting a value 2 in that particular table. After that we are saving save point 3, and after that we are inserting value 3, and after that we are not saving any save points, and we are rolling back to tier 3 save point. So what will it do? It will take the control back till this point, so it will undo any changes made by this statement. So we are up to the point where we have values 1 and 2 in the table at this point. After the execution of this rollback transaction, we have values 1 and 2 in the table A1. And next we are rolling back to save point tier 2, which is this. So transaction up to this point will get rolled back. So this is the statement. So we were at this point. After you roll back to this point, tier 3, we are rolling back to tier 2. So this statement will also get rolled back. So at this point we have values 1 in the table A1, and at this point we are saving transaction saving the save point tier 4, and after that we are inserting a value 4. So basically we had value 1 in the table, and along with that we have added value 4. So at this point table A1 has values 1 and 4, and we are committing a transaction, and we are selecting the column 1 from table A1, and this will output values 1 and 4 inside the table. So I think you've got the idea of save points. I've explained it clearly here, and just press F5. We got the output 1 and 4. So let me discuss again. So by rolling back to save point tier 3, it takes us here, and this statement will get rolled back, and rolling back to tier 2 takes us here, and both these two statements will get rolled back. Alright, so let's go back to the note. So we are done with the save points topic, and I think that's it for this video. In this video we have discussed about the implicit transactions topic, and next we have discussed about the save points in transactions. In our next video we will discuss about the try catch constructs, which can be used to handle errors during the transactions. So let's stop this video here, and please do like my video, subscribe to my channel, and give your comments on this video. And even if you want me to post videos on some other topics, please do let me know via comments. Thank you.